This is Magnus Carlsen, the greatest chess player ever, known for outplaying his opponents no matter their skill level. His reputation? Dominating every board, every game. But today, things took a different turn. Magnus was playing in the 2022 World Blitz Championship, a grueling 21-round marathon spread over 2 days. It's round 19, and across the board sat Russian grandmaster alirezafirouzja, a formidable opponent with a rating of 2,708. Magnus was leading the tournament before this round began, but with both players exhausted, would Serena be the one to outplay the world champion? Serena began the game with the white pieces by advancing his pawn to d4, followed by the queen's gambit opening with pawn to c4. Magnus responded with the queen's gambit declined, opting for pawn to e6 and knight to f6. After exchanging pawns on d5, white chose the less common move, bishop to f4 instead of the theoretical bishop to g5. Magnus continued his development normally, playing pawn to c6 and bishop to f5. Meanwhile, Serena appeared well prepared, playing quickly until he reached the move pawn to f3. At this point, there was a sharp continuation involving knight to h5 and queen to h4. However, Magnus seemed unprepared for this line and struggled to recall the correct response, spending a critical 40 seconds in this tight time control before finally playing pawn to h5. White confidently and quickly developed his bishop to d3, followed by his knight to e2. Just before castling, he decided to seize control of the center with the move pawn to e4, opting for a significantly better position after just 11 moves. Both players continued developing their pieces, and after Magnus castled his king, it became clear that his position was already difficult. Magnus, aware of this, began to think deeply before Serena played his rook to d1, trying to capitalize on his positional advantage. Serena initiated the attack by pushing his pawn to e5, targeting Magnus's knight. When Magnus retreated the knight to d5, Serena simply captured it, securing a much stronger pawn structure for white. Let's take a moment to analyze this position. White enjoys a better pawn structure and a massive space advantage, along with strong attacking potential against black's king. White's rook on the semi-open f-file is dangerous, and the queen dominates the b1h7 diagonal. The only drawback for now is the dark-squared bishop on f4, which white should look to activate somehow. Serena began his attack on the black king by moving his knight to g3, threatening the h5 pawn. While it was crucial for black to first capture the bishop on f4, Magnus blundered by pushing his pawn to g6 instead. This allowed white to move his bishop to h6, attacking the rook and gaining significant activity on the dark squares. Realizing he couldn't save his rook on f8, as Serena would follow up with the powerful move queen to f3, creating a strong attack on the f7 pawn, Magnus opted to capture the b2 pawn with his queen. At this point, white had a clearly winning position, being ahead in material, and it seemed only a matter of time before Magnus would resign. However, instead of playing the most accurate move, rook to f2, Serena missed the opportunity and played rook to b1, giving Magnus a chance to fight back. Now, with his slim hopes still alive, Magnus had to choose between capturing one of two pawns, either on a2 or d4. The question is, under the pressure of tight time control, can he find the best move? The answer is no. Instead of choosing the move queen takes d4, followed by knight takes queen and bishop to c5, which could have given him some hope, Magnus played queen takes a2. This made the rest of the game easy for white. After white captured on b7, black found that there was nothing he could do to save the game. Following the move queen to a3, Serena traded queens, then played the decisive move rook to a1, trapping the bishop. Magnus's poor performance was evident, especially in the final moments of the game. He didn't even realize his bishop was trapped until he placed it on a7, only to discover he had already lost the bishop and the game. It's worth noting that Serena only used around 90 seconds of his time to beat Magnus. And it's also important to highlight that despite this poor showing, Magnus was able to make a comeback and win the tournament, demonstrating the resilience of a true champion. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any future content.